Edmonds, who enters year 4 with the Owls. The Owls come off a 19-15 season, ended with a conference tournament championship win and a trip to the NCAA tournament. You only brought in one transfer, though. How confident are you bringing back such a bulk of your roster and what they're going to be capable of doing this season?
Yeah, I feel incredibly fortunate and blessed that we are bringing back the majority of our roster. I think it speaks volumes to our culture. I think it speaks volumes to the young ladies that are in our locker room. Also what Rice University and that degree means, right? So it means a little bit more to make sure that you get that degree from Rice. And so it makes me really excited for the season. We're the most veteran that we've ever been, the most mature that we've ever been. Only having one player that we got out of the portal, none went in. Like, that's just as exciting times. And so while last year was incredible, it was still last year. And to have a lot of pieces back, there's high expectations. For sure, but we still got to go out there and do it. And so it's a new year, new season. And even though we return a lot, it's still everybody's in a little bit different a role than they were last year. And so we have to step up and make sure we get the job done when it's time to do that.
How does a summer, and well, I won't say off season, but just a summer of work look like after a championship, right? Because all of a sudden everything changes. You're like, wow, NCAA tournament, it's got to get there.
It does. It does. They had that taste. They had that taste of what success felt like. It also, they had the taste of what level they needed to be competing at every day to have that success. And so we've seen it carry over. We've seen their energy be higher. We've seen their effort be higher. We've seen their communication be louder and stronger. And so it's been tremendous. Now, obviously, we got to carry it over. It's a long season. We got to find a way to put together several months of it. But there's definitely a different energy about any of our practices or workouts that we've had since I've been here as we're having right now.
What did you learn about your group going through the conference tournament and ending up holding the trophy? What are you bringing from that team to this season?
Yeah, Rice has a saying, Rice fight never dies, and we were the epitome of that, right? I think going into conference tournament, everyone in our locker room believed that we could go in and do what we were going to do, and no one stopped believing that. Even when we had moments of like doubt, even when their game wasn't completely going our way. I remember we had one timeout and we had a player come over and was like, I'm not worried, I'm not scared, like, we're going to win this game. That was the type of confidence that we were playing with. And when you have like 15 locked into that on the floor plus your staff, it's hard to beat that. And that's truly like what we were and what we were about. And now we got to bring it to this year.
Well, yeah, so you just buying in. Like, I just love it. I mean, Coach getting you hype right now. I'd love to see it. But it does take buy-in from the players, and it does take you putting everything that she's trying to tell you into action on the floor. What does that sound like, maybe when you're in a huddle, when you're being vocal in that moment to say, hey, we're not giving up? Take us back to a moment like that. What are you saying?
I think our team does a really good job of communicating with each other effectively. We make it a priority to huddle when things aren't going our way. That's on the court, off the court. And when we're specifically off the court and it's in timeouts, it's, one of our more vocal leaders saying, making eye contact with us. And, like, if it's a person messing up, like, this message is for you and that you got this. Like, your mistakes, we make mistakes as a team. Yeah. And when that happens, I have your back. And I think every person takes that message really deeply.
Susie, what does it mean to have a team with accountability? Like, tell me how much of a superpower that is.
No, I definitely think it's a privilege because we know what we're saying, like, no one's going to take it personal. We all are just striving for the same goal. We want to win at the end of the day. So being able to have that accountability and not only hold yourself accountable, but being able to hold your teammate and, coaches being able to hold us accountable without the fear of, like, how are they going to take this, or right, maybe that's too harsh. Like, when we're in the moment, all we're focused on is getting a win. So I think it's definitely a privilege to have that maturity, and I think that's just, like, even from last season to this season, I think that's a lot of growth for us too. We've grown in that area of accountability and being able to hold each other accountable.
Coach, I know you bring back a bulk of your roster, but were there any surprises this summer?
Yeah, I think everyone has, again, evolved. I think everyone's found ways to grow their game. We graduated Destiny Jackson, and that's a big part of who we were last year. And is anyone going to replace Destiny Jackson? No, but every single person has to do a little bit more than what they did last year, and I'm seeing that. I'm seeing their games growing. I'm seeing them add second layers to their scoring ability. I think both of our freshmen and our newcomer had incredible summers. They're not your typical freshman or typical newcomer. They're learning so quickly. They're picking up on things. They're bringing things to practice. They've been highlighted for the best of the day already. And I think that, everyone has surprised me in different ways throughout the summer. And that's what makes us so good. I think our team is so deep. And that's what made us good last year, and it's hopefully going to carry over to this year as well.
It's hard for me to believe. I'm looking at my notes. A 10 seed going into the AAC tournament. I mean, is that right? I mean,
it makes sense. Bro.
Right. It doesn't. It really doesn't. But seriously, what is the mentality of a 10 seed to become champions? I mean, no one's expecting you to win at this point. So what are you telling yourselves?
We always laugh because we won, and they asked us the same question. It's like we might have been a 10 seed on paper, but no one in our circle ever believed we were a 10 seed. And so you just look even at the records of everybody almost had the same record. So it was really anybody's game, and it just so happened we didn't finish the way that we wanted to finish, but we knew that going into the tournament we were capable of winning this just as much as anybody else, and that's the mindset that we had to have and that we had to maintain.
So how exciting is it being in a conference where you had 3 different teams share the regular season, y'all come away with the championship, and now USF comes back stacked healthy? How fun is it to play? I mean, competitively, how fun is it to play in this league?
I mean, I think it's just like every game you show up, it's not even necessarily even match, but it's really anyone's game, and to have every game in conference be that level of competition. We're playing at such a high level with really great teams, like you mentioned USF. Like, they were a good team last year, they're gonna be a good team this year, but you really come in knowing like, oh, you can't really like take this game off. Like, you can't. Everyone is good, and I really enjoy it personally, just because it makes the level of competition that better.
Look, no one likes to talk about themselves, so Susie, I'll ask you: when you get your leading scorer back in Malia, what does she mean to this year's group?
There's so much fun.
We're talking about you.
About the friendship. These two had a sleepover last night to make sure they were not late for their early morning flight. So that's the friendship we're dealing over there on the couch. I'll throw it back to you. Then
Okay.
You can answer about Malia.
What does Malia mean to us and to me? I think she brings like a level of tenacity. Incredible scorer, obviously, and that's like a really big part of her game. But I think she impacts the game on all levels, and that's just like on the ball, defense, steals, blocks, being able to guard her man one-on-one. But I think the biggest thing is the consistency she brings for us. We all kind of struggle. I think like sometimes we're like kind of going like this when it comes to scoring. But I think for her, like when we look back at it, like if we need a bucket, we know she's gonna get the bucket. Like whether it's a foul, whether it's the and one, like she's gonna get it. And I think it's really nice to be able to play on a team with someone like that, because you essentially don't really have to worry a lot, because there's always that level of Malia, what she brings.
And then coming from the bucket getter herself, how would you describe your teammate?
Oh, okay, run it back. No, I think bringing Susie in, it just made everything so much easier for a program, and her game, and I talk about this all the time, but her footwork is so impressive. And I know sometimes, and this might be a bad habit, but I throw the ball up and I know she's got it. And she's gonna get it. And I think what makes our duo so good is that we just work so well off of each other, and she's just a force in the paint that I'm so happy she's on my team.
Well, thank you guys so much for being here. I look forward to watching you play this season. Best of luck.
Yeah, thanks for having us.
Thank you.
We're excited.
Of course. Coming up next, we have the Rice men, who have a